Okay, YouTubers, so we're back with whatever part this is. I haven't broke up the video yet, so I'm not sure which part it's going to be. So I have the parts painted and they're dry. I put the bumper back on in grow work. I cut the bumper down short. I think that was probably in the last video. Just cut the ends off of it. The cab is pretty much ready for the decals. I went ahead and kept the headlights on there as they were. On the next truck I will probably shave those off and do the little single round headlights on either side. So I have the cab ready to go, and I ordered the decals. They came in yesterday. I'm also planning the ICX and Leeway trucks as well. Oops. Okay, so the decals are out. Decals also came with instructions. They're in black and white, so they're not. You can see the CF diesel there. They're not, great pictures. As you can see, the CF there and there, and then there's a trailer right there. The trailers are on the way. I actually found a pretty good set of the rib-side trailers on eBay and got a really good deal for them. So those are on the way. I've got my white wine vinegar, distilled white vinegar. It's not wine vinegar, it's distilled white vinegar. What I do with that is I pour a little bit into the cap, and the distilled white vinegar, I use a clean paintbrush that's only used for the vinegar. And when I place decals onto models, I take the white vinegar on the brush and put it on the model. This actually helps the decals adhere to the model. Okay, so I'm gonna put the stripes on the cab. So I'm gonna cut out a set of white and green stripes. I usually cut really close to the actual decal part itself, just to keep the film from showing a lot. Okay. Now I made a boo-boo. I put the vinegar on there first. I'm going to take it off real quick because I want to show you how I fit decals, especially when you modify a model like this. The decals that come for a kit are not going to match up. Now, as it appears for this, I might actually be able to get away with cutting the decal so much so that that I can use the one decal for both sides. So I'll try that. Okay, now that I got it cut out, I'm going to go ahead and put both of them into the water on my plate. Actually, I'll just start with one. On the CF diesels, the consolidated freight diesels, the green goes on top and the red on bottom. So don't make the mistake of putting them upside down. And then also on the frame, the fuel tanks will need to be repainted silver, but the straps leave red. Yeah, I'll touch up some paint. What I do is if I spray paint something, I can take a small cup and spray paint in there, and this is dried up, but it's the same color. And if I spray it in there, I can then take a paintbrush and clean up any parts that might have been overlooked on the model. So our decal is almost ready to take out. Doesn't take very long. I'll put a little bit of the vinegar on there, and then like I said, the green goes on top. Well, it looks like I messed up this decal by bending it around the semi-cab. I'll see if it still fits. If it does, we'll leave it. It does appear to fit somewhat. And the stripes will go down low toward the bottom of the door. I'm just maneuvering the decal on there until well, I'm getting a text. Sorry about that. Old Robin Hood theme. Okay, so I got the first set of stripes on there. I'm going to go ahead and take my little cotton towel and dab it a little bit, get the excess vinegar off of there, and kind of push the decal onto the model. And if I have to make any fine-tune adjustments with the decal, I usually use my X-Acto knife to just move it around slightly, ever so slightly. Then I am instantly going to use this decal bonder spray because I don't want this decal coming off there. So I'll shake it real good. It says to use it in a well ventilated area. I'm in a pretty good sized room, so and plus I need to do this quickly, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it real quick. Alright, so it's sprayed. So there's my first set of stripes. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that on the other side, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and to make things go a little quicker, I also cut out the decal for the air dam, and we're ready to take out the other decal and put it on. And move it into position. I want to look at the front of the cab, try to get it centered properly. Okay. There's my phone again. Oh, there's my phone again. My son's been texting me he's not feeling very well at school, so I'll probably be going to pick him up here pretty soon. He's a sophomore in high school. Okay, there's the stripes on the other side. It looks fairly straight from what I can tell. I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick spray with the decal bonder. Don't want to put too much on there. This decal bonder, it makes the model look a little shiny. Don't worry, it actually dulls down a little bit. And what it does is it helps to keep the decal onto the model, and it kind of melts the decal onto the model. And it works so well that it kind of takes the paint off of the decal and insets the paint into the model. I know that because I messed up on one of the past models, and then I used the 91% isopropyl alcohol to remove the paint from the model. And when I did, it took the decal off and I saw it floating, but there was still marks on the model from where the decal was. So the paint actually bled through and adhered itself to the model, which is pretty interesting. A pain in the butt to get off later when I had to redo the model, but that's pretty much what happened. Okay, I put a little bit of vinegar on the air dam, and decal's not quite ready yet to come out. Always try to use a really clean water and distilled water, and like at room temperature. Don't let it be too hot, don't let it be too cold. Actually not hot at all, just you know, like room temperature. Probably the most uncomfortable type of water to drink. But you're not going to be drinking this. But yeah, I think this truck's going to look pretty good. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make a whole fleet of these trucks, the CF. Mainly because the rig trailers are so hard to come by now. I know that there are a few on eBay going for ridiculous amounts of money. And if you can get lucky enough to actually find the CF trailers, you know, they're pretty expensive. Athearn probably should look into re-releasing them because they're so popular. But I don't know, we'll see what they get up to. Because they probably won't re-release them right away, seeing as how they just had a whole run of the CF in N scale, you know, not too long ago. I think it was 2005 or 2006 they had a run, and then they had more again in let's see, I want to say 2014. And I bought quite a few in HO scale, but I didn't buy any in N scale. And now I'm back into N scale again, so naturally they don't have them. But anyway, I'm just straightening up the decal on the air dam, wanting to get it centered and have it look good. Okay, so here we go. The CF logo is on there, starting to look like a CF truck. Go ahead and give that a quick spray. Don't want to put too much on there, especially because it's an N scale model. That decal bonder will really do wonders for this little truck. Gotta be careful how I handle the cab now. I think I'll use a pair of tweezers. Grab it by the window frame on the driver's side. My finger's stuck to it a little bit. So I'll go ahead and set that aside and let it dry. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the fuel tank silver, leave the straps red, and I'm not sure after that. Most of the work will have to take place on the actual cab itself. But here pretty soon we will be ready to start putting it all back together, including some of the harder parts like the photo etched metal mirrors, blinkers. I'm not going to use the bumper posts. I'm going to put that on a different model. I also have a Concours conventional here. This is the only conventional I have for Concours, so I'm going to do something special with it. And then we'll start putting this back together. I'm going to modify some blinkers. I'm going to put the mirrors on. I'm going to modify the smokestack to match prototypes. And I got some of this etched metal walkway from, I believe it's Plano or Plano. And you can see that it has little holes that go all the way through. That photo etching will be on like a walkway from the fuel tank to the fuel tank inside there, if you can see that. I know the light's not real great in here, but yeah, I'll put that walkway in between there, make it look really good. I'm also going to use either N scale or HO scale, haven't determined yet. Coupler springs, the little tiny springs. I'll stretch them out a little bit and then paint one red and paint one blue, and those will be the pigtail strings for the trailer. I've got a custom, just a piece of styrene, just a little styrene stick. I'm going to glue that to the back of the cab and drill two very tiny holes in it and glue the pigtails in there to you know, simulate that the pigtails would be plugged into the trailer. And then we'll get working on the wheels. I'll show you the wheels. The wheels for this model are going to be Showcase Miniatures Dayton spoked wheels. And we'll have to custom paint those and get them ready. And not sure how yet I'm going to put the wheels on. I'm not sure if I'm going to, you know, do my modifications to them or just glue them on the model. I don't know. Maybe I'll turn the front wheels a little bit, slightly, make them look pretty neat. And we'll finish the rest of the decals. I'll go ahead and do that off screen because you know, it's kind of tedious. There are little teeny tiny decals with writing. You know what, I can probably point to them. Like these here, and oh, sorry, those little tiny writings that need to go all over the diesel. So yep, gotta put all that stuff on. Well, I'm popular today. Okay, so we'll be back, and when I come back I'll have all the decals on. I won't do anything else to it. I'll show you the rest of what I want to do to it, and we'll go ahead and get the cab buttoned up and then start working on the frame with the wheels and the fuel tanks. So we'll be right back. Alright, so here we're back. Have the fuel tanks painted silver with the straps red. I've also went ahead and drilled two holes in the front bumper, if you can see it. Probably not. Those are like, I think they're tow holes for tow hooks. I'm not sure. But it's on the prototype, so I put it on this. The exhaust stack. The exhaust stack is kind of a cheap little stack. But what I'd like to do is customize it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this top skinny piece off, and I'm going to drill a hole down into the main mast and put in my bent modified piece. You can see it's bent. It's bent on purpose. I bent it. And then I'm going to find a little round piece to put on top as the I think it's an air cleaner. It goes on top of this stack. So I'll go ahead and start modifying that right now. I have a drill bit picked out for my pin vise. The drill bit matches the bent piece of metal pretty well. So go ahead and stick it in the pin vise and get drilling on that. Gotta be real careful drilling into this so that I get it straight, because I don't want the drill bit to poke out the side of the bottom part of the smokestack. Now, if you're not confident doing this, I'd advise not to, because you can really easily mess this up. I've messed up many small detail parts trying to do stuff like this, so I know that it can be messed up pretty easily. This one seems to be going alright so far. Don't know how deep I'm going to make this drill go. Probably not very deep, because then it'll mess it up. The longer you go, the more chance you have of actually messing up or breaking the part. Okay, so I think I'm going to go just a little bit further. And I'm going to cut the metal piece, the bent metal piece, a little shorter, and then glue it into place. I don't have any photos that I own. I could, however, post a link to the prototype that I'm modeling after I do the actual video and download it to YouTube. Okay, so I've cut the piece off shorter, and I'm gonna glue it into the end where I drilled the hole, and my battery died.